Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Lunch and Life with Sharon and
Rob and Joy.
You'll have to excuse us. We missed our first week of October. You know, just like everybody else, things happen. So we apologize to our audience, but we're back, we're set, and we're here to talk about so much for October. It's a huge month.
It is a huge month. And it, you know what? It's one of these months. I don't know about you, but everything seems to be going faster and faster.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, October of every year. We're actually going to touch on that more next week, because this week, October is also Emotional Wellness Month. It's Bullying Prevention Month. And it's all kind of tied in together. And we just thought it was such a great topic and timely because of what's going on in the news.
Yeah. Also Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So
yes.
Let's just make that all one big ball.
Yeah, it's a lot. It is. But yeah, so Robin and I were just talking before we started recording about everything that's going on.
Yeah. So, you know, originally there were two things we were going to talk about, right? Kind of about this whole thing. So as of today, recently, this whole week, Jon Gruden, the
Raiders coach.
The Raiders coach. So I'm a little, I know a little bit about football. I just won't say I know a lot about football. So bear with me. So Jon Gruden, who is the Raiders head coach, who he's also in sport, like he does Monday Night Football sportscasting, but he's the highest paid coach, like $100 million contract for 10 years. Oh, this is also interesting. I'm going to tell you this part. I'll tell you in a second, everyone. Resigned, I think, as of today, I think, resigned this week because he has a track record of racist emails, being homophobic, misogynistic, basically taken down everyone across the board that he doesn't support or believe in. So talk about bullying and all this sort of thing. And it's not just, say, this season or in 1 year, it's a pattern that he's had. And so suddenly he's being called out on it, which is a good thing, finally. So it's a couple of things that come into play here. Now that there's female referees, that's in some emails when female referees got in. I think that was like last year or 2 years ago. Again, COVID brain, so could be 1 or 2 years. That was in there. His team, the Raiders, actually, there was a player who came out, and he's one of the first players, I think, in the NFL to come out as being homosexual. He has that player. He's a Raiders player. And the whole story behind him coming out and how hard it was in the NFL and how the team supported him, well, behind the scenes, the head coach has all these emails about that. And then just a whole bunch of other things about racism and stuff like that. Here's what I didn't get to tell you yet. So this $100 million contract, right? He got paid, even though he resigned, right, to step away. He still walked away with $40 million.
Wow. Wow. Just to shut him up, basically.
Just to shut him up, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy.
So it is crazy, because you talk about domestic violence, you talk about bullying, you talk about someone in such this power position.
Yeah, who could be such a leader and be a positive leader, being that type of personality.
Exactly. Who's kind of paid to walk away. Like, who knows what will transpire because of it, but he's being paid to walk away, to just walk away. So it's kind of pushed under the rug.
Yeah, it's and it's sad, right? Because, you know, again, even if you think about the younger athletes who look up to him and who watch this and who want to aspire to be these athletes, then, you know, they start wondering, who am I supposed to be? You know, what do I have to worry about? And it just, listen, you know, when we talk about, oh, it's Emotional Wellness Month and Bullying Month, Domestic Violence Month, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's something we need to be aware of every month, every day, every week, every month. But at least knowing that there's a time that is really brought into the limelight, we really just have to take that step back and look at what's happening and how it's affecting these young athletes and what their fears are.
Right. I mean, you take his player who came out, right?
Yeah.
Who thought he was stepping out and not only for himself, but then being a role model for others. What does that do for other homosexuals, right? Does that shut them down, or
Yeah.
does that empower them to speak out? It's like a step forward and two steps back sort of thing.
Right.
It's sort of like, why does someone have that kind of hold? And it comes down to the emotional wellness aspect of really truly being so I guess confident in you and knowing who you are and being able to process it and take the time to process it, because it's gotta hurt, right? You've got to take this time. And it is, I'm sure these people that were affected by these emails, are hurting. So it's taking that time to recognize it and address it and then move on.
Absolutely. And also, if we're afraid to speak up or say anything and we swallow those emotions, it affects our, physiology, it affects our mental state, it affects the energy in our bodies that just becomes so stagnant. And, I've talked so many times before about how the brain and the gut are connected. And when you have the vagus nerve that can be in the sympathetic fight or flight or the parasympathetic rest and digest, you're constantly in fight or flight. So everything short circuits, which then becomes this vicious cycle of not being able to produce enough of like the happy hormone serotonin. So if you can't find ways to balance that and be happy and allow yourself to take care of yourself first, it just it perpetuates or grows into something even larger that can then spiral. I don't want to say out of control, but just spiral downwards. And then you end up like, swimming in this, like a riptide or, just not being able to get out of it, and you need help. And it's okay to ask for help. And that's the big thing, is like reaching out and asking for help, finding people whom you know, love, and trust that you can share these thoughts and feelings with and not suppress them, because it'll affect you physically and mentally.
Absolutely. And to know that they're real, right?
Yeah.
Not to just say, it's funny because I've been talking with women who lost their mothers at a young age and stuff like that. And so many of them have said to me that people say to them, like, it's been years, aren't you over it? And it's not the big holidays that affect them. It's like the small milestones in life. So it's a discussion that's been going on, and it's like shutting down the emotion. It's like, who gives someone else permission? Like we all process things differently at different times and stuff like that. So it's allowing yourself to find those people that will support you and communicate with you and just be there for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. And the other thing about, that's like the bullying part, the using power in a bad way to control and to also, perpetuate this greater fear, when it should be the opposite, where we should all be coming together. And another thing you and I were talking about, in terms of the domestic violence, was Gabby Petito. It's, again, just being able to reach out and ask for help and to be heard. And it's kind of like on the subways here in New York City, if you see something, say something, or, at the airport, when there's a package left on, anywhere, right? There's a package, call somebody. You have to be aware of what's going on. And it's not always dire, but trusting your gut, trusting that intuition of, something seems off here. Let me just ask if everything's okay. Even if I'm a stranger, like, don't be afraid to put yourself forward a little bit, or if it feels uncomfortable, call for help or
Right.
do something. Don't be afraid to do something because you could be saving somebody's life.
Yeah, you could be. And I think I told you this. I think it was on like a Dateline or 2020 that there was a couple, maybe it was one of those the shows like What Do You Do or something like that.
Mm,
There was a couple that had come in. It was a younger couple, and obviously it was an abusive relationship. And the the boyfriend made the girlfriend sit like right next to him in a booth, and she went to reach for her phone, and he slammed it down. The waitress came over to give menus, and he was like ordering for her. And she went up to go use the restroom, and she took a napkin and then somehow put it under the menu. And when she went to give her menu, she slid it. And basically it said, "I need your help." And put not,
I heard
and the
about that.
waitress, did you hear about that?
I
And the
did.
waitress called 911, just did it. She
Yeah.
went back to the counter, looked at it, looked over, and he kept tugging at her, like keeping her as close as possible. And police had came from behind them and just separated the two of them, happened to arrest the boyfriend. I think there were charges pending or they were out looking for him or something, but separated them and basically probably saved this girl's life,
Yeah.
but it was just someone who went with it, and just felt it. And so it's just trusting that, something you just don't feel something's right, just go in and ask.
Yeah, yeah. And listen, we're not trying to scare people, it's not about like
No,
you want to live in fear. It goes to the theme of what we always talk about, awareness.
right.
Be aware, pay attention. When you notice something, anything, and your gut kind of feels like, pay attention to that because you just never know.
You just never know.
Yeah.
You just never know. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I think, again, with this month being emotional wellness, it's paying attention to what can you do for yourself? How can you stay present, stay focused? How can you, which is where like, my gut method comes in, right? Like getting connected to what am I doing? Is it making me happy? Is this serving me? Am I experiencing symptoms? Are the foods that I'm eating affecting how I'm feeling emotionally, physically, right? Understanding you, noticing patterns, and then connecting the dots so that you can take action,
Mhm.
so that you can find joy. Just own you. How do you like the way I put all that together?
That was very clever, Sharon. I like that. Thanks for getting me in there. That was
Well,
great.
of course, it's our show.
On that note, I don't know how else to end the show on that. I mean, that's pretty awesome. So
Yeah.
I love unpacking lunch with you. So you can take it from
Always.
there. You're good.
Always. That's it. We're done. We're going to call it a wrap. And we wish everybody a happy week and a weekend. And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.